is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
A steamy Sunday afternoon in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. The roof sealed tight for this afternoon till to Chase Field, as the Reds, after losing the opener this series to the Diamondbacks, with a win today, would have a winning road trip and 3 straight wins overall. And hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball here on Fox Sports Ohio. We turn the page from the month of May now to the month of June. And you look back on May, clearly the Reds pitched very well, Chris, but they had a hard time scoring runs.
Well, they did, and you can see what they've done as far as wins and losses. They won 2 in a row. That's their longest streak in the month of May. If they win 3 today, that'll match their longest on the year. They lost 4 in a row, but they've missed some big parts of their puzzle here. Jay Bruce and Joey Votto together have lost 29 ball games in the month of May. Their offense down around 230 offensively, but their pitching is what's kept them in there. An awful lot of very tight ball games Brian Price has seen his team play so far in the month of May.
You know, let's talk about some pleasant surprises so far in the early part of this season, and especially in the month of May. We begin on offense, where we were talking at length last night about Brian Pena.
Well, Brian Pena was really expected to be a backup catcher and a force off the bench, but he's found a lot of playing time. You see what he has done in 39 games this year. He's batted nearly 300, 3 home runs. He's played at first base. Of course, he's caught. He has been a force off the bench. A very pleasant surprise. A switch hitter has come through, and maybe the best underrated signing that the Reds have made in quite a while.
Well, that's offensively speaking. Boy, what a play that was. We remember that from Pena at first. But then on the mound, the man who gets the ball here today, big Alfredo Simon.
Yeah, we keep talking about Alfredo, 33 years old, being somewhat of a late bloomer. He's coming off an outing in Los Angeles that was not all that great, but his body of work as a whole has been outstanding. 6 wins, 3 losses. He makes pitches. He's a big guy that is durable out there. He loves to be on the mound, and he's on the mound with the Reds today, trying to take 3 out of 4 here in the desert.
All right, when we come back, Jim Day will talk about being able to win in different ways. That and more still to come from Phoenix. You're watching Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
By authority of the Cincinnati Reds, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
For the first time in this four-game set, the roof closed this afternoon at Chase Field, Phoenix, Arizona. Jim Day with you. We're on the field just outside of the Reds' dugout. The Reds have won 2 straight, 3 out of their last 4. And the Reds' bats have woken up, particularly in the last 2 games, and they've been mixing it up as far as how they've been scoring runs. On Friday night, 5 of the 6 runs came via the home run, thanks to Devin Mesoraco's grand slam and his solo home run later in the game. This team has been accused of waiting and sitting back for that home run, but last night it was a different story. 5 runs were scored on singles and doubles. They had a 5-hit, 3-run inning. So that is great to see. If the offense can continue to have some power and score via the single, Billy Hamilton stealing bases and scoring runs, that's exactly what Brian Price and Walt Jocketty have in mind. This is a 4-game set. They're the hardest to win, but check out the Reds this season and in the past. They've been good in these 4-game sets this year. They beat the Pirates at PNC Park, winning that final game, won the series 3-1, as well as Milwaukee at home May 1st through the 4th. And look at their record in 4-game series since 2012. This is a tough thing. Usually 4-game series go via the split, but 12-3-5 in 4-game sets since 2012. Let's see if they can make that 13-3-5. They can do it with a victory today, and they'll have a winning road trip. Going for a winning road trip, a winning series, and more. Lineups and the first pitch next.
The Ford dealer, Ford Go Further by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good. It's Skyline time. Downtown Phoenix, Arizona, Chase Field. Final game of this series, final game of this 7-game road trip. And a win today means 3 wins overall in a row and a 4-3 trip. The Reds batting order presented by Meyer. Heisey leads off in right. Frazier at third. Phillips at second. Mesoraco back behind the plate. Pena again at first. Ryan Ludwig in left. Skip Schumacher for Billy Hamilton in center, Zach Cozart at short, and Alfredo Simon on the mound. Hamilton being bothered. Quickly, Jim Day, we'll check in with you as Wade Miley is on the mound. What is going on with Billy Hamilton?
Well, if you remember that throw last night in the sixth where you said scouts take note, Billy Hamilton threw from the warning track clear to third base, and you're looking at it right here. Something happened in that right elbow, and it came up lame today. And I just talked to him moments ago, and I asked him, hey, are you worried about this? And unfortunately, he shook his head and said yes. So stay tuned on that one.
All right, Wade Miley to face Chris Heisey. And it's ball one and this one underway. Lance Barksdale calls the balls and strikes. Mark Ripperger over at first base. Gary Cederstrom at second, and Kerwin Danley, the umpire, at third. Heisey chases a pitch up and out of the zone and fouls it out of play. Wade Miley, 3 up, 5 down, ERA a little higher than 4.5.
27-year-old left-hander that was second in the Rookie of the Year vote. That was back in 2012 when he was also named an All-Star. In fact, Todd Frazier was in that race too. Frazier came in third. Bryce Harper, in a very tight vote, came up with the award. Miley's been up and down, mostly down here at home. Has not pitched well in Chase Field, although he is coming off an outing in which he pitched against the Padres and struck out 11. With Patrick Corbin on the DL, they look at Miley really as the ace of the staff.
1-2 to Heisey, a .238 batter with a home run and 7 runs batted in. Well, certainly you keep your fingers crossed and you say your prayers with Hamilton. So many of the Reds already having spent time on the disabled list this season, and Heisey is rung up on strikes. He does not agree with that call.
He thought it was down or maybe even inside as well. Oh, it's a getaway strike zone right there.
Todd Frazier, a .270 batter, a team high 9 home runs, a team best 28 runs batted in. And Frazier drops it foul off to the first base side. 1 of 4 in the game last night with an RBI, had 2 hits, a walk, and scored a couple of runs against Bronson Arroyo. And 0 for 3 in the series opener. 1-1 to Todd Frazier. Great to have you with us on this Sunday afternoon. We hope you're having a great weekend. Starting to creep into the later part of the afternoon back in Reds country. So settle in and enjoy the rest of the afternoon and the early evening with us right here from downtown Phoenix. Frazier a fly ball into right field over near the line is Gerardo Parra, and Miley retires the first 2 Reds of the game. Arizona defensively, a lot of changes today presented by Ford. They bring up Peralta from the minor leagues today after the broken hand suffered by A.J. Pollock last night. Inciarte in center. Pennington the nod at short. They move Prado over to second base. Chavez a rare start down at third. Well, what a blow that is to a team already having a tough time of it. 12 games under 500. And recently anyway, now granted over the last 2 years there's no debate that Paul Goldschmidt has been the best Diamondbacks player. But of late, A.J. Pollock has been their best player. Going back to the 4th of April, Pollock has been a .344 batter. That is third in the major leagues behind Troy Tulowitzki and Yasiel Puig, and it may be a while before he comes back. They've got to determine whether or not the broken bone will require surgery after being hit last night by Johnny Cueto in the 8th inning.
Yeah, the way it was hit, it was just pinned up against the bat. He's got multiple breaks in that finger, and that's the reason that they've got to wait now until the swelling comes down before they determine whether he needs surgery or not. Now, they reviewed that play to determine whether he was actually hit by the ball or putting on an act. Obviously, he was hit, and unfortunately for him and the Diamondbacks, he goes on the DL. Nice player. I like to see players like Pollock who just seem to get it, and that's a big blow to the Diamondbacks.
0-2 now on Brandon Phillips. 2 down, nobody on. And a fastball up and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Brandon. 4 home runs, 20 runs batted in at 2 hits, a single, a double, scored a run, knocked in 2 in the big win here last night. 5-0 behind Cueto, Parra, Broxton, and Hoover. A lot of tardy swings against that Miley fastball here in the first inning.
Yeah, you look at it, the radar gun, and it comes up at 90, 91, something like that. But he's a little sneaky fast, and that's all about deception anyway. We've seen 99-mile-an-hour fastballs turned and knocked 450 feet. So it's not really how fast it is, it's how fast it appears, and he's got a quick arm and it can get on you.
Struck him out to end the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Reds. A couple of strikeouts for Miley. Big Alfredo gets a ball when we return. Diamondbacks, 1 game under 500 in his career. Gerardo Parra in right, Pennington the shortstop, Goldschmidt at first. Their lineup presented by Meyer. Montero the cleanup hitter, Prado at second base with Chavez at third. Peralta making his major league debut out in left, Inciarte in center, Miley on the mound. Alfredo Simon coming off a rocky start, only his second bad one of the 10 he's made all year long. The other 8 have been lights out, especially on the road.
Well, Alfredo Simon has been such a terrific surprise for the Reds. I mean, it's almost like if he gives you something positive now, he's already given you enough. But I think the expectations now for Alfredo Simon by himself are such that he wants to stick in the starting rotation somewhere. Now, it may not happen with this Reds ball club. It may happen with this Reds ball club. Right now, the decision's got to be made when Matt Latos comes back. Something's got to give. And right now the speculation is Simon or Cingrani. But in the meantime, he's a guy that has just been a road warrior. As you can see, a 5-1 record on the road.
And that ERA really jumped up after his last start in Los Angeles, because you take that one away and that ERA is under 1. But it was a poor outing by Alfredo. 3 2/3, 5 hits, 5 runs. He walked 4 batters in that game. Should be noted the other poor start that Simon has had this year. And you may remember that was 3 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs in that loss to Colorado. The next game he came back, went 7 2/3 innings of 5-hit shutout baseball in Philadelphia. And a tapper down to first, fair ball, 1 out. Cliff Pennington, the shortstop, comes to the plate. Pennington played in nearly 100 games last year. Hit .242 with a home run, 18 runs batted in. Originally came up in his major league career as a regular for the Oakland Athletics. He was involved in that crazy deal coming from Oakland, a 3-team trade. Heath Bell involved in that deal along with outfielder Chris Young, who was a one-time All-Star here for the Diamondbacks. A's, Marlins, and Arizona, the 3 teams on that deal. 1-2 to Cliff Pennington.
Boy, just nice, easy motion, very compact for a big guy. Simon is 6'6", about 270 pounds. But he tries to stay compact, and he doesn't use a lot of effort every time he throws. Just kind of rock and fire.
Well, we know the Brewers are rolling. Boy, that's 3 games in a row. Unbelievably lopsided scores. Milwaukee crushing the Cubs on Friday. The Cubs doing the same to the Brewers yesterday. And now 9-0 Milwaukee in the 8th inning over the Cubs today. And speaking of getting thumped, the Giants are on their way to beating the St. Louis Cardinals at Busch Stadium 3 out of 4. The only game the Giants lost was a 2-0 decision yesterday. They are in front 8-0 today in the 6th inning in St. Louis. That Giants team is on quite a roll, and of course they will be the opponent for the Redlegs beginning on Tuesday night at Great American Ballpark. The Giants sporting the best record in all of Major League Baseball, gunning for their 37th win of the year today.
And really doing it the Giants way, which is without a lot of superstars. They've had some of their main players out with injury, but they just figure out a way to win. A very patient ball club. Be a tough test for the Reds.
Extended at bat here for Cliff Pennington. Hey, look at the National League West. I tell you what, the Dodgers and the Rockies were just swept over the weekend in Cleveland. And they are now a 500 team. And look at that lead the Giants have over the second place Dodgers. Dodgers and Pirates will be getting underway later tonight. 8th pitch of this at bat, Alfredo and Pennington. And he'll finally get him out on a ground ball to Brandon Phillips. Reds on defense presented by Ford. Schumacher, the late addition for Hamilton in center field, flanked by Ludwig and Heisey. Regular group along the infield. Regular these days anyway. Pena getting a lot of playing time over at first base, and Mesoraco back in there behind the plate. Now the Diamondback All-Star first baseman Paul Goldschmidt at 303. 10 home runs and 38 runs batted in. He went 1 for 4 last night. Had 1 hit in the second game, scored a run and knocked in a run with a ground out. 0 for 3 in the series opener. So the Reds have done a nice job on Goldschmidt in this series.
Well, what they've done is they've been able to pitch him down and away, and he just doesn't look like he's committed to the pitch that is at that spot in the zone. Johnny Cueto carved him up nicely last night. They've stayed away from his power. I think really after establishing the fastball in, they get him looking in there, and they've been able to get him out on the outside part of the plate.
2-1 delivery is in the air. Short center field, and Schumacher makes a nice diving play to end the inning. Looked like that ball came off the end of the bat. It fooled Schumacher initially, but able to run it down. Alfredo, a perfect first inning.
Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day. This would be the normal spot that Jay Bruce has been hitting for the Reds in the cleanup spot as Devin Mesoraco steps in. But Jay Bruce given the day off today, in part because there's a lefty on the mound, and in part coming off of a knee injury. They want to kind of ease his workload. Now, if you're wondering if that knee has been bothering Jay Bruce and affecting his performance, I talked to Jay and he says absolutely not. He put a kibosh on that, says I have no more swelling in the knee. I have no pain. It doesn't limit anything I do. It doesn't limit anything I do at the plate. He said, I am just stinking right now. I've been here before and I will get out of it.
All right, Jimbo, thank you very, very much. Reds are hoping that'll be starting on Tuesday night when they get a look at the San Francisco Giants. That'll be right-hander Tim Lincecum on the mound, so you figure Bruce will be back in the lineup. The question is, will Joey Votto be back in the lineup? That bat littered all over the infield, but it's a base hit for Devin Mesoraco through the middle to begin the Reds' second inning.
First baseman, number 29, Brian Pena.
Mesoraco, one of the few hitters in this lineup that have never pitched or batted against Wade Miley. Miley's had 3 games against the Reds overall. 1-1 with a 4.6 earned run average, but some guys have had pretty good results. Most haven't seen him too much. A hit here and a hit there.
Well, now the hottest hitter right now in this Reds lineup on a daily basis, whether he's catching or playing first base, that's Brian Pena. Has a season high 8-game hitting streak, 12 hits in his last 28 at bats. That's a .429 batting average. Including today, 9 of his last 12 starts have come as a first baseman. Now, we know the Reds are an aggressive base running team, an aggressive base stealing team, but Miley is one tough cat to try and run against.
Well, he's very quick. He varies his times. He doesn't have all that much of a deceptive move, but he's just quick to the plate. It's like he slide steps every time he goes.
One and two on Pena. Mesoraco a very short lead, held on by Goldschmidt over at first base, and now the count even at 2-2. Some of the highlights from earlier today, Chris. Mark Burley won his 10th game of the year today for the white-hot Toronto Blue Jays.
Probably did not throw the ball any harder than, say, 86 miles an hour either, maximum.
10 wins. And today, the first day of June.
Well, they are white hot. They're getting some tremendous offense. Of course, Burley's a guy with just impeccable control.
3-2 now on Pena with a Toronto win today and the Yankees lost. The Blue Jays, certainly one of the real surprise teams in baseball. A 3.5 game lead in the American League East. I read where Hal McCoy picked the Blue Jays to win the American League East before the year began.
The old master in the man cave. That's pretty good insight. Who'd he pick in the National League?
I don't know. I just read in the clips today that Hal was poking fun at one of his many, many hundreds of thousands of readers when he picked the Blue Jays. Some guy really gave it to him.
Well, I hope he doesn't wait until October to tell us who he picked in the National League.
We will see. We hope we will see Hal on Tuesday night.
We will.
We'll run
we
down
sure
all his
will.
picks.
He's all hunkered down right now, I guarantee you.
3-2 again to Pena. And that one shot into right center field, and the hitting streak will go to 9 games. On his way to third is Mesoraco. Man, has this young fella been impressive.
Well, batting from the right side, of course, Pena's a switch hitter. He doesn't get nearly the number of at-bats this way as he gets hit left-handed. But that ball is up. Miley wants him to turn over on that ball. But when you get a ball up around the letters like that, Pena did exactly what he should do, take it to right center field. And now the Reds with a chance to do some damage here early in this ball game.
Longest hitting streak of Brian Pena's career, where he has been almost exclusively a backup player. And that was the idea when he came to the Reds, to back up Devin Mesoraco, but with the injury especially to Joey Votto and the ability to give first base a try, Pena's playing every day and swinging the bat better than ever.
The D-backs will trade a double play for a run. Infield back.
Well, one on Brian Ludwig, and Ryan takes on the inside corner. It was the same pitch that Heisey was called out on, close to it anyway, and didn't like it. 1-1 to Ryan Ludwig, 246 batter. He came on as a pinch hitter last night and had a double down the left field line against Addison Reed.
Gotta like that number right there with runners in scoring position.
Two-one delivery. And now the count even at 2-2. Mesoraco, a single to begin the inning, advanced to third on a base hit by Pena. They're on the corners with none out in a scoreless game here in the Reds' second inning. And that is strike three called, and Ludwig knew it.
Yeah, that's where he wanted it on Brian Pena. Got it up in the zone. Pena got a base hit. This time he threads the needle perfectly. Although our Fox track shows that at center of the plate. I guess it maybe been, but right down there at the hollow of the knees. 3 strikeouts already for Miley.
Big at bat here for Schumacher and the Reds. Runner at third with nobody out. Now a runner at third with 1 out. Schumacher trying to bunt his way on.
Yeah, that's okay as long as the guy at third base knows what's going on. Otherwise, you're simply moving the runner up. Let's say you get a base hit and the guy from third doesn't score on it because you catch him by surprise. Then you just move the runners up, and then you've got the number 8 hitter coming up with bases loaded. Schumacher's never faced Miley.
And again, he was not in the original starting lineup today. Billy Hamilton was. And it was no more than about 10 minutes before game time where the Reds took Hamilton out of the lineup with that injured elbow. How significant that is, as Jim Day reported earlier, we don't know. And now the 0-2 in the dirt. Nice block there by Miguel Montero. Fouled out of play. 1-2 on Schumacher. Schumacher had a nice game last night. 2 hits, 5 at bats, scored twice, knocked in a run. He did not start the series opener when the Reds were shut out. And it's 2-2 now on Skip Schumacher. Skip only 10 at bats against left-handed pitching so far this year. He has 2 hits in those 10 at bats. Runner goes, and now caught in a rundown.
Not good.
Pena, and here comes the runner to the plate. He's in a rundown. Pena on to second base, and you just wonder why. First and third and 1 out in the inning. You wonder if there's a missed sign here.
I got to figure that somebody missed a sign. Either thought they saw a sign, meaning Brian Pena, or just doing something on his own. Now, we've seen Payne be very aggressive on the base pass. He's been thrown out trying to stretch balls from singles into doubles, trying to tag up. The other night he was gunned out. But that's just not looking good right there. When you're two catchers on your ball club or your base runners and you get first and third and attempt some sort of a double steal, it's usually not going to work out and get a good result.
Well, that is hard to figure. Schumacher had worked himself into a 2-2 count, then a 3-2 count, and see Mesoraco goes down hard, then has a defender behind him fall over the top of him and was very slow getting back to the dugout. And after first and third and nobody out, the Reds do not score a run. No score after an inning and a half. Your way to NASCAR's Quaker State 400 in the Kentucky Speedway Getaway Sweepstakes aboard the Fan Express. Enter today's keyword speed on the entry page at foxsportsohio.com to enter. Stay tuned every day for a new keyword and a new chance to win. Well, it certainly was a surprising ending and obviously not a good ending when you had first and third with nobody out to begin that second inning and you come up empty.
Well, we've seen the Reds do that a fair amount, and when you're involved in so many close and tight one-run ball games and you see plays like that, sometimes it's self-explanatory why you end up on the short side of some of those tight games. I'll tell you one thing, Schumacher, after he hit that ground ball to ground out to the first baseman, he just looked, by body language, just livid the way things turned out in that inning. Guy's got a fire in him.
Miguel Montero to lead it off against Alfredo Simon, and that one's just off the outside corner. 2-0. Here's what you're talking about.
This is after he already tossed the bat away, but I mean, quick as anything. I mean, yeah, that doesn't look too bad right there, but you can just tell. I mean, some guys, it bothers more than others, and I'm glad it does.
You and I were talking off the air the other day, and I made the comment about Schumacher, and I know you felt the same way. You know, you were talking about while you were growing up, and I had said, you know, for not old players, little league players, whatever it might be, 3-1 now on Montero, it's always easy to root for the star. I mean, that's why they're the stars, whether it's Votto or Bruce or Phillips, and not suggesting you shouldn't root for them. But there are a lot more kids in this world, a lot like Skip Schumacher, than there are like Joey Votto, Jay Bruce, or maybe Brandon Phillips. There's a base hit in the left field by Montero. First base runner of the game for Arizona, and that's a single to begin the second inning. When I mean a lot more guys like him, I mean as far as a body type, he's not 6'4", 220 pounds, doesn't run like the wind. But can you just see a guy like Schumacher playing, on that high school team against your team?
He's a guy that you have to watch a little bit. I mean, the type of player, not just Skip, but I mean the type of player you have to watch more than once or twice to get him onto a scouting report. And some guys just don't give up. We were always told growing up, my era anyway, Pete Rose runs at first base on a base on balls. Why can't you? Control the things that you can. And that's the kind of fire that you get a feeling that Schumacher has burning inside of him. And for a ball club that went through the end of the season last year in somewhat of a lackadaisical malaise, that's good to have that kind of a player. Because everybody has a little fire in them. They just haven't needed ignited.
Double play ball here if they can turn it. And Phillips will turn it after the feed from Kozar.
Now batting, third baseman, Eric Chavez.
Eric Chavez with 2 down and nobody on it. 270, 3 home runs, 7 runs batted in. Six-time American League Gold Glove Award winner Chavez during his days with the Oakland Athletics, also a mighty good offensive player. First pitch, a roller at Phillips, and that's all in the second. Cozart, Simon, Heisey coming up in a scoreless game in the Cincinnati third.
Head collection. Wednesday, June 4th, the first 25,000 fans receiving a Aroldis Chapman bobblehead. Thanks to Coca-Cola. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. I'm Jim Day, and there's been speculation whether or not Joey Votto will be back in the lineup for the Reds on Tuesday as Zach Cozart sends one deep and out of here. We'll get back to that, Tom.
Jim, take it away. You did a nice job there.
Deep and gone. How about that? This is just me speaking, but I highly doubt that it's going to happen, only because in talking to Brian Price today before the game, he had hinted about a rehab stint, a very short one for Votto. Said he talked to him on the phone, had a very good conversation, said Joey is doing very, very well. But unlike Skip Schumacher, who went to Arizona to get a lot at bats, they just want to make sure that Votto's leg and knee are fine in a game situation, and you can't get that in a simulated game. So it's just me talking. Look for him to maybe go on a short rehab stint and not be in the lineup Tuesday.
All right, Jim, good stuff. Thank you very much. And Jim Day on the home run call. So maybe Jim bringing a little good luck to Zach Cozart and the Redlegs.
He called a few home run balls last year.
Yes,
some of that play-by-play that Jim did. Sitting right next to him, enjoyed that. So, if I'm Zach Cozart, I want Jim Day to have the mic next time he comes up.
We'll make that happen.
Alenia.
Right fielder, Chris Heisey.
89 miles per hour on that fastball, and I mean right at the belt, and Cozart did not miss it. So now Heisey struck out looking his first time up. First time through the batting order. Miley has fanned 4. He's allowed 3 hits, not walked a batter, and now the home run here in the 3rd inning to Cozart. One and 2 on Chris Heisey. Miley got ahead 0-2. Now to count even at 2-2. And he struck him out. 2 away in the inning. Well, right now at FoxSportsOhio.com, get a full recap of the final day of the Memorial. Marvin Lewis says the Bengals' playoff loss to the Chargers should not fall on the shoulders of his quarterback. And the Cavs' coaching search continues. FoxSportsOhio.com brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe, spend less. 2 away in the inning, and now Todd Frazier. 5 strikeouts in the game for the Arizona left-hander Wade Miley. And that one in the air. And tagged into left center field. It is 2-0 Cincinnati. Frazier plays long ball. Home run number 10, RBI 29 for Big Todd Frazier.
Well, he has hit the ball hard this series, and he's not had a whole lot to show for it as far as success. Hits the rockets up the middle that have found the gloves, but this time with really good plate coverage. And again, where this pitch is, Miley's a guy that needs to keep the ball down around the knees, and you miss your spot and throw it thigh high, even if it's on the outer part of the plate. A guy as strong as Todd Frazier will guarantee that you get a brand new baseball.
Now Brandon Phillips heads in front 2-0. Well, Frazier, after admittedly going through such a disappointing sophomore year, after really putting together a solid season as a rookie when the Reds won 97 in 2012. The home runs and the RBIs were basically a wash from the year before. But the batting average slipped over 40 points. And Frazier is putting together perhaps an all-star year this year. I mean, you have to start including him on, you look at some of the National League third basemen, and a strong argument can be made that Todd Frazier is very much in that mix. On swinging Phillips. But the Reds flexing their muscles in the third. Cozart and Frazier for a 2-0 lead. Our game storyline brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Run differential with their major league rankings. Look at the Oakland Athletics. 112 better than their opponent. Giants right behind them. Both teams having great years.
And really what these numbers mean, I mean, when you look at it overall, the Pythagorean theorem is that for every 10 wins you have, or every 10 runs you have, that is good for a win over 500. So at the end of the year, it's amazing how that is pretty close to predicting how good your team is. Because what it does is it gives you credits mainly for blowout wins. How many times you win by 5 runs or more. David Peralta making his major league debut. They just called him up after A.J. Pollock suffered that fractured finger being hit by a Johnny Cueto pitch last night.
Peralta, 26 years old, and looks at that one in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Which is old for a rookie. But he's got an amazing story. Signed by the Cardinals in 2005. He's from Carabobo, Venezuela. Peralta is. And he was a left-handed pitcher. And he pitched a couple of years, or tried to, with the Cardinals, and just was injured. Never made it. Disappeared from sight. Came back and trying it now as a position player. And here he is in the major leagues.
Center fielder, number 5, Ender Inciarte.
His first career at bat broke out swinging against Alfredo Simon. Now Inciarte figures to get a decent amount of playing time after the injury last night to A.J. Pollock.
You know, the Diamondbacks also have Tony Campana. You know him, of course, from Cincinnati area. Campana from University of Cincinnati. He's down in the minor leagues. And they feel that Inciarte and Campana are very similar type players. So they've seen Campana. They're going to give Inciarte some more major league time before they figure out what they're going to do ultimately.
Yeah, they're both very fast. They both are very good defenders, and neither one of them been able to prove yet that they can hit a lot. So now Wade Miley, the pitcher. 5 hits and 24 at bats, and looks at ball 1 from Alfredo Simon, a 94-mile-per-hour fastball. Simon has allowed just 1 hit, and that was erased on a double play by the very next batter. The hit by Montero, the double play by Prado, and the 1-0 to even the count.
Well, you asked, and we received from Hal McCoy, of course, is watching, and he said that he picked the Cardinals in the National League. So he's looking good anyway right now with the Blue Jays, the Cardinals. Well, it's a nice, safe pick, Hal. He says, by the way, it's in the hot man cave. And I think he's asking you in a roundabout way, see if you can't spring for maybe a wall banger to cool that baby off.
Hey. From Mr. McCoy, as I call him, anything. There's a base hit by Miley. I feel like I've known Hal my entire life. Me and my dad started within 1 year of one another, covering the Cincinnati Reds. And every year down in spring training, Hal with his family down there, son Brian and I got to be buddies while we were growing up. Hal's a good man. There you go. You get him one of those. Now, that would be more in your price range right there. I'll get him the wall banger, but you could have something like that. And, you know, for all of Hal's grandkids, that could be the air conditioning system, and you put a little slide in there.
And it looks like a slide. In fact, you could probably put the man cave inside that big air conditioning vent.
Oh, I think that's a safe bet. So the pitcher gets a base hit, and it's strike 1 to Gerardo Parra.
I wonder if he's allowed to fire up those cigars he has in the man cave.
By all means. That is not even a debatable topic. Because Lord knows you can't anywhere else.
No, you're right about that. Well, that's a good pitch right there. You know, you can talk about Simon and his size and his fastball. He throws at 93, 94 with a good sink and run. But his off-speed pitches, his changeup and that curveball that he throws has really been the key for him. He really makes pitches.
Tapper down to first, took a high hop on Pena, stayed with it, and gives it up to Simon, covering the bag for the final out in the third. Reds lead 2-0. Today's IGS bringing the energy. Devin Mesoraco became just the 5th Reds catcher to hit 2 home runs in a game, with one of those being a grand slam. Grand slam came first in that one, then a solo shot to make it a 2-run lead late for Devin Mesoraco. Look at some of the names that have also done it, including the Hall of Famer Johnny Bench.
Boy, anytime you're on a list with Johnny Bench, you're in good company. That's breaking it down right there, though. 2 home runs, one being a grand slam. I mean, we never used to get those kind of stats before they started computerizing every bit of data that goes into a baseball game. I mean, now they're logging every pitch. Now not even logging every pitch, but they're logging where it is, where that foul ball went, everything. The information, the speed off the bat, the speed of the ball coming out of the pitcher's hands, the horizontal break, the drop, the number of spins it takes. Kind of leaves us in the technological dust.
There are a lot worse things than being left in that dust. High fly ball into short right field, and will take care of Mesoraco, who had a single his first time up. A fly ball to right to begin the Reds' fourth. Cincinnati with a 2-0 lead on solo home runs in the third by Zach Cozart and Todd Frazier.
That takes the pressure off those 2 home runs a little bit off the Reds after that base running toot bland that happened in the second inning. You know, that kind of gave a little bad energy to that dugout and the whole Reds' efforts here in trying to take the 3 wins out of 4 games in Arizona. Then you can play long ball a couple of times and gives your pitcher a little bit of breathing room.
Pena had that single in the right center field, which sent Mesoraco on to third, and the Reds had him on the corners with nobody out. They weren't with us after Ryan Ludwig struck out on a 2-2 pitch to Skip Schumacher. Pena took off for second, got caught in a rundown. The runner at third, Mesoraco, then caught in a rundown between third and home, eventually tagged out, and then a ground out ended the inning. 2-2 on Brian Pena. Well, you know, here in Arizona, you get the feeling everybody is walking around on eggshells, and everybody out there, no matter what occupation you're in, can understand the feeling. I mean, all of us have been there. There's strike 3 to Pena, where they bring a new sheriff into town, and sitting off to our left, you have Tony La Russa, the new president of baseball operations for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and sitting in the same box with him is longtime pitching coach who is already working for the Diamondbacks, and Dave Duncan. But so many around here that move from somewhere else, move their families from somewhere else. How much longer will they be here? It's not always, the most talked about is always the guy who's making the most money. That would be a guy like Kevin Towers or a guy like Kirk Gibson. But it's so many others underneath those positions where those folks are wondering what's going to happen.
Well, you bring up a good point, but I was talking to Alan Trammell, who's been one of the coaches here for a long time. Former Detroit Tiger, played under Sparky Anderson for a long time, just revered as a baseball guy. And he said, well, what are you supposed to do? Well, I'm just going to go out and be the same baseball person that I've been. Same preparation, do the things I've been doing for decades. What are you supposed to do? Change your mode just because you got Tony La Russa in town?
I'm not talking about a guy like Alan Trammell. I mean, he's made $1 billion walk. I mean, he didn't make the big money that the players make now, but Alan Trammell's been around a long time. Yeah. He's in his 60s, and, he'd be upset if he got let go tomorrow, but for him, it's not the end of the world. I guess I should have clarified and said, oh, boy. That one hammered down the line, and if it's fair, it's gone, and boy, is it fair, and boy, is it gone. Third solo home run for the Reds off Miley in a 3-0 lead.
Well, that's got to feel good for Ryan Ludwig, because he was caught looking on a 3-2 pitch his second inning with a couple of runners on base. And the Reds get their third home run. This was a no-doubter as long as it stayed fair. Just went down to get that breaking ball. And, man, those go a long way. That is the 13th now home run that Wade Miley's given up.
And that's in almost 80 innings. But I guess that's what I was getting at. I mean, there's no doubt about it when you're talking about with Trammell. That's 100% correct. I met some of the folks that we sort of run into up around the hallways here.
Who would be just collateral damage if they end up being moved on for one reason or another. But I mean, if you're in a position, whatever it is here, it's not like you're going to change what you're doing every day just because there's a new sheriff in a town, or else you're going to send a message to him that I wasn't doing the right thing anyway.
Schumacher will leg out the infield hit, a diving attempt over there by Chavez. First hit for Skip in 2 at-bats today.
Well, that's a good bit of hitting. Waiting a long time on that pitch, taking it the other way.
I would imagine Alan Trammell, if they decide to make a change in the manager's position here, and that's not a guarantee. I don't think anybody's all of a sudden ready to send Kirk Gibson on his way right now, and maybe not Tony La Russa right now. But Trammell might be a guy they would be interested in talking to, should that job open up.
Well, you can't find a smarter baseball guy around, I'll tell you.
And boy, was he a great player.
Oh. On some great teams. That 1984 Detroit Tigers team that he played on. That was one of the best teams in a couple of decades.
6-time American League All-Star. Won 4 Gold Gloves. Knocked in over 1,000 runs during his career. That was a team that got off to, they won 35 of their first 40 games.
Yeah. That was Lou Whitaker. Trammell and Whitaker. What a double play combo they were.
And Allen a little older than he really is. Oh, he is 56 years old. Tell you, I am stunned that, I don't know why it should surprise me, but I'm very surprised that he's the same age as Kirk Gibson. There's a high pop-up. Foul territory over on the first base side. And caught by Goldschmidt to end the inning. But another Reds home run. Slow in that category in May. And off and running in June. 3 of them against Miley for a 3-0 lead. Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by JTM Food Group. Let's create great dishes together. By Toyota, for over 30 Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com. And by B-Dubs. Spend $30 on a gift card for dads and grads. They'll give you a $5 bonus. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Happy birthday wishes today to Mary Black, watching in Piqua, Ohio. Today turns 98 years young. Mary Black, happy birthday, and God bless you, young lady. Hope you're having a great, great day. Cliff Pennington to lead things off for Arizona. Home half of the 4th inning. Reds out to a 3-0 lead. Pennington grounded out to Brandon Phillips after an 8-pitch at bat, his first time up. Well, you talk about worn out and exhausted. How about the weekend? The series between the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. On Friday night, they played 14 innings. 15 innings on Friday night. Start again. Friday night, 15. Saturday, 14. Today, 11. Gone swinging Pennington. Strikeout number 2 for Alfredo Simon. Coming up later on, our Miller Time moment brought to you by Miller Lite.
First baseman.
But pick from so far. 15, 14, 11. 40 innings of baseball. That's a guesstimate. Wow. Now Alfredo going to work on Paul Goldschmidt. Breaking ball misses in.
Well, the Phillies have played, what, 11 extra inning games? I read that. 8 extra inning games, including today.
Man.
And if you play 10 innings, that's not really that big of a deal. But when you start playing back-to-back games that go more than 12 or 13 innings, talk about stretching your bullpen. Those are the kind of box scores you love to pick up the newspaper and read.
We were reminiscing here yesterday with Bob Brenly, the announcer for the Diamondbacks, and of course he was a manager in 2001 when they won the World Series. One of the most pivotal, I guess, state your claim that we're here to play and here to win and here to compete was a series that celebrated the anniversary yesterday of that 2001 season, where on a Friday night the Diamondbacks and the Giants played 18 innings of a game that ended in a 1-0 score. Ruby Eldarazo had a base hit to win that game for the Diamondbacks. Here's ball 4 to Goldschmidt. And Miguel Batista, a journeyman who had bounced around on a number of different teams, only made the club because of a couple of injuries, wound up pitching the final 4 innings out of the bullpen, getting the win in that game. They played 12 innings the next day. Batista came on from the bullpen, won again, and shortly thereafter he would go into their starting rotation, culminating with a Game 4 start at Yankee Stadium in the World Series, where he shut out the Yankees in 8 innings on the mound. Barry Bonds in that game was 0 for 5, was intentionally walked 3 times.
That Diamondback ball club, they were good for more than just that 1 year when they beat the Yankees in 7 games. Of course, they lost in the division series the year after that. They still won 98 games. But man, as far as the production went, that's when they started peddling off all their players. And they went from being the best team in baseball to being the worst team in baseball.
In 2 years.
2 years later, they won 51 games and lost 111. And that had to make people here in Phoenix area kind of scratch their heads, saying, well, what exactly is this franchise going to look like?
Well, that was one of those situations. We've seen it, other places, other times, as now Alfredo falls behind 3-0, where you bring in all these veteran players, great players from other places. Well, they get old in a hurry. And they got old in a hurry.
And you're still paying them a lot of money.
Runner goes, and that ball launched into right center field. And that one is up against the wall. They're going to wave around the runner from third. It'll be an RBI double by Miguel Montero to make it a 3-1 ball game. How about that? 3-0, green light. And Montero jumped all over it after the walk to Goldschmidt.
You're batting in the cleanup position for a reason, because the manager feels you are a run producer, and Montero is. The really odd thing about this, and it could be just a statistical oddity on the part of Alfredo Simon, but cleanup hitters this year came into this ball game batting .074. Cleanup hitters. He had limited them to 2 hits in 27 at bats, and Montero, the cleanup hitter for the Diamondbacks today, is 2 for 2. Go figure.
Well, Alfredo's got to find a strike zone. He walked Goldschmidt, fell behind 3-0 to Montero before the double, and now ball 1 to Prado. That one in the air down the right field line. This is a long run for everybody, and no one's going to get there. Ball and 1 strike to Martin Prado. Runner at second, 1 in and 1 out.
This guy's been a good player, just a good, solid major leaguer. Now he's had about 9 years in the major leagues, including the first couple of years with the Atlanta Braves. We didn't get a lot of playing time, but once he started becoming an everyday player, he's always hovering right around 300. Can play around different positions for you.
there's a base hit. They're going to hold the runner at third. So now all of a sudden Alfredo is just cruising along through the front three, allowing 2 hits. Has allowed 3 straight base runners. They're on the corners with 1 out.
The Diamondbacks know what that looks like. Brandon McCarthy, their starter the other day, has not given up a run yet in the first 3 innings of a ball game. But the second time around, they seem to catch on him a little bit. That's not been the case this year overall for Alfredo Simon.
So Jeff Pico out to have a quick chat not only with his pitcher but also his battery mate and the entire Reds infield. How about those numbers?
Well, you like these numbers. You know, I see these numbers on pitchers, and it reminds me of what a lot of people who will follow the sabermetric form of baseball analysis will say, well, a good hitter is just going to get more hits with runners in scoring position just because he gets more hits overall. But if you give credit to a pitcher for bowing his neck and getting out of an inning and having runners in scoring position batting average way lower than other times, why wouldn't you give the same credit to a hitter? I mean, some guys are able to toughen up, whether they're pitching or whether they're hitting. At least that's my very simple philosophy. And when I see Johnny Cueto add 3 or 4 miles to his fastball with a runner at third, that's not by accident.
All right, Eric Chavez about it. Runners on the corners and 1 out, and there's a fastball and a good one. Good location there on the outside corner, a strike. Big batter in this ball game right here, right now for Alfredo Simon. Diamondbacks have scored a run. They have him on the corners. And that one sails up and away to even a count of ball and a strike. One and one to count. Pulled a string on him there at Chavez way out in front.
The differential there between the 95-mile-an-hour fastball and an 82-mile-an-hour changeup. I don't know where that coach, whoever came up with it, said 10-mile separation is the best. 13 miles an hour might be even a little bit more and better. Took me a while, but I did get that math right.
That's good. I am impressed. You're on a pretty good run right now. Quoting Shakespeare last night and now the math.
That was Billy Shakespeare.
That's right.
Backup second baseman.
All right, a 2-2 pitch upcoming. Simon to Chavez. Runners on the corners, 1 out. And a throw over to first, sending the runner who barely has a step lead, Prado, over there at first. Hooked into right field, and this will plate another run. Tagging and scoring easily is a runner at third, Montero. So Chavez does his job, and all of a sudden 3-0. He's down to a single-run lead.
Left fielder, David
One more out to go. Simon retired the first batter, just blew away Pennington to start it. But then it was the walk, a bout of wildness, a walk to Goldschmidt. A 3-0 count to Montero before he doubled to knock in a run. A single by Prado, now the sac fly by Chavez. Peralta making his major league debut today, struck out his first time up. We're paying a lot of attention to Prado.
Well, he stole 17 bases a couple of years ago, but I'm not sure if it was injuries or what. Only had 3 last year, has yet to have 1 this year.
Only 1 attempt this year. And now Simon falling behind again. And boy, when he has missed badly in the at-bats to Goldschmidt, Montero, and now 2-0 on Peralta. First major league hit for Peralta. And that will send Prado on to third. So this Arizona bottom of the 4th inning continues. And David Peralta already making sure they send that baseball back to the Arizona dugout. His first big league hit.
Well, 26 years old out of Double-A. So you may say, well, he's kind of old for being a rookie baseball player. But we mentioned earlier, signed originally as a pitcher of the Cardinal organization. Had 2 separate shoulder surgeries, and he wanted to quit. His family said, don't quit. You got too much talent. So he decided to become a position player. In order to do that, he had to make a couple of different stops in the independent league baseball.
That's a great story.
And it's really amazing. I mean, 10 seasons, 7 leagues, 3 nations, and 2 continents.
And another base hit by Inciarte. And it is a tie game. Holy Moses, have the wheels fallen off for Simon here in the bottom of the 4th inning. He allowed 2 hits through the first 3. He's allowed 4 hits and a walk here in the 4th.
Well, you see where the locations are. When Simon's on his game, he's spotting that fastball down because every fastball he throws is a 2-seamer. Has a certain amount of sink. Those 2-seamers belt high, they usually just hang up there and get hit hard.
And the Reds now all of a sudden have action in their bullpen.
And this has happened so fast that Reds really haven't had a chance to get anything going in the bullpen.
The 4th inning was the inning where it fell apart for Alfredo Simon in Los Angeles. He gave up 4 runs and 4 hits. And now the pitcher Miley hits a line drive, which ends the inning. But Arizona comes up with 3, and we're tied at that number as we move to inning number 5. In 8th, they'll take on the Philadelphia Phillies at Great American Ballpark. Saturday, June the 7th, the first 20,000 fans receive a Reds cap thanks to Fox Sports Ohio. And for tickets to the exciting weekend, Reds and the Phillies, 513-381 REDS. Reds have a little payback for the Phillies after going to the city of not so brotherly love. It has been for the Reds for a long time. Dropped 2 out of 3 there. Well, Alfredo Simon survives after a 3-run bottom of the 4th inning. Arizona ties a game, and Alfredo will lead it off against Wade Miley here in the top half of the 5th. It's a big game today for the Reds. We talked about it after the game last night. Jim Day and Chris Welsh talked about it before the game today. Playing a team clearly really down in the Arizona Diamondbacks. You lose the first game, team meeting after the game. You've ripped off back-to-back wins. A win today, 3-game winning streak, a 4-3 road trip. You feel pretty good. You lose this one today, you split against one of the worst teams in the National League. A 3-4 road trip. Flight's a lot slower going back to Cincinnati. Losing as opposed to winning.
Yeah, this is one of those swing games, Tom. A lot of times, you know, you lose a game here or there, it doesn't matter. But when you've got a team like the Diamondbacks who've been decimated by injuries, they were dealt a huge blow again last night with the loss of A.J. Pollock, their leadoff hitter. You know, you're clearly a better team overall, I think, than the Diamondbacks. Although the record really may not show it that much. This is the game that you have to tell yourself. You look over in that other dugout, you ask yourself, is that team in that third base dugout as good as us? And you've really got to will yourself to figure out a way to win this game. Reds have already had one major faux pas on the bases that could have cost them a big inning. You never know.
Chris Heisey is struck out looking, struck out swinging, 0 for 2. Boy, and speaking of strikeouts, Miley is piling them up here today. He has 8 strikeouts, and we're only in the 5th inning, and that one is launched into left center field, and Heisey snaps the tie going way back. A 4-3 ball game. Heisey's first home run as a starter this year, and a good time to get it.
Boy, look bad on the first pitch. So it's an 0-1 count right here, and Miley's trying to hit that spot, and he throws it belt high. Boy, the same thing happened to Alfredo Simon. But Miley, it seems like every time he's made a mistake getting that ball thigh high or above, Reds have been on it.
That ball's hammered there.
4 solo shots today.
Frazier has a solo shot, is into left center field his last time up. $14 home runs allowed by Miley. 11 of those have come here at Chase Field. By far most in the National League, and Chris talked about that before he ever threw his first pitch of the game.
Well, this is a very hitter-friendly ballpark. I mean, the ball carries here. The air is dry, obviously, being in Arizona. The breaking balls don't spin and really bite like they do, you know, in more humid climates. I'm surprised not to see at least somebody from Colorado on that list.
Well, it's time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag OhioFanPhoto, and maybe we'll show it during an upcoming telecast. It's brought to you by AT&T. Randall Delgado, another former member of the Diamondbacks starting rotation, banished to the bullpen, much like Trevor Cahill, beginning to throw. 2 outs, a run in, and the Reds, after giving up a 3-0 lead, now own a 4-3 lead. Back to Miley, and he'll throw out Brandon Phillips. But Heisey snaps a 3-3 tie with a long one to deep left center. And the Reds, after 4.5, back on top, this time by a run. Well, you can win your way to NASCAR's Quaker State 400 in the Kentucky Speedway Getaway Sweepstakes on board the Fan Express. Enter today's keyword SPEED on the entry page at foxsportsohio.com to enter. Stay tuned every day. We'll have a new keyword and a new chance to win. First pitch swinging. Gerardo Parra. Boy, Simon will take that. One pitch and one out to begin the fifth inning. After Alfredo walked a batter with one out, working on a two-hitter in the fourth inning. And then allowed 4 hits to the next 5 batters, leading to 3 Arizona runs. Strike one to Cliff Pennington. He was a batter that Simon struck out to begin the last inning before he ran into some problems. And Alfredo ahead this time, 0-2. The Giants finish off 3 out of 4, winning at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. That ball crushed down the right field line, but hooking foul. And boy, did they do it in emphatic fashion today, blanking St. Louis 8-0. The final score in that one to win 3 out of 4. That wins on Thursday and Friday. Losing to Michael Wacha yesterday, but come back for the shutout win today. That was Tim Hudson on the mound in that one. He now goes to 6-2 on the year for the Giants.
Yeah, I think Lance Lynn on the other side of that game.
Milwaukee blasted Jeff Samardzija today, so that means that Johnny Cueto will now have the top spot earned run average wise among all National Leaguers. He was tied with Samardzija going into play today. On swinging Pennington. 3 strikeouts for Simon, 2 out in the inning.
Well, this will make our Cholula flamethrower of the day, our Cholula hot sauce pick, and it's a breaking ball down and away. Second strikeout Pennington has had against Alfredo Simon in a row. Right it up at 78 mph.
Now Goldschmidt, he drew the walk with 1 out, nobody on, an inning ago, and wound up scoring. He had a fly ball into short center field that Schumacher made a diving play on to take away a would-be hit in the first. 1-1 to Paul Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt 10 home runs, 22 doubles already this year, has 38 runs batted in.
Now down and away with that cutter is where they've had success with Goldschmidt so far in the series. Same spot, same pitch.
And there's the same result as the one before it. 1-2-3 for Simon in the fifth. Reds lead by a run.
Fox Sports Ohio. Good day back with you, and we're out here in the outfield. We like to sample different foods around different ballparks. And this monstrosity right here is called the D-Bat Dog. Easy for me to say. Hope you can see it. It's an 18-inch corn dog stuffed with cheddar cheese, jalapenos, and bacon with a side of fries that's about 2 pounds. Well, this bad boy cost $25.
Well, look, you're going to be able to feed about 4 off that.
You are.
So you know what? After you get a little sliver, don't be afraid to run that baby up to the TV booth.
Comes with a defibrillator.
I will. We'll get it. It goes on here.
Well, no, wait a minute now. I mean, you know, you have to try yours and give us a critique.
Oh, yeah.
A review of what that corn dog is like.
All right, now pardon me that I'm eating with my hands.
Well, we'll get off camera while you take a bite of it. We're not going to humiliate you here. It was a fly ball. Well, we would consider that. There's a fly ball in the center. And it'll be played out there. Mesoraco retired to begin the inning. Reds leading 4-3.
It sells itself, too, because while Jim Day, between innings, was holding it up, he was stopped by a couple of different people that came out and said, hey, where'd you get that thing? So you ought to be getting some commission out there, Jim.
And the result is what, Jimmy?
I should get some commission, although they did give this one to me free. You know what? I don't like jalapenos at all, but this thing is really good.
Really?
Thumbs up.
That means it's not going to make its way up here, Tom. Sorry about that.
Much better than a Dodger dog, I can tell you that.
Well, you have been the food critic on this two-city road trip. thumbs down for the Dodger dog and a thumbs up, right, on the corn dog.
We're going 2 thumbs up on this one.
All right.
And I'm sorry to talk with my mouth full. I apologize. Mom, I know you're watching. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, you know, that's got to be a part of our, our regular sort of part of the telecast here. Now, our next road trip, we will be going, if I'm not mistaken, to, is that the Chicago, Pittsburgh?
Oh, yeah.
No, Milwaukee. Chicago. Oh, well, Milwaukee.
Some sausage.
Here's a fly ball into left center field. And able to run it down is Peralta. Pena retired. 1 of 3 today for him.
Sure. When you want a food critic, go to the chubby guy. I get it.
You know, you're the one that started this, and by the way, you're the one still talking with your mouth full.
That's true.
Yes.
That's very true.
So what kind of guy does that make you, Jim?
That would make me a rude guy. I'm coming to the booth with this bad boy.
How about a hungry guy?
Oh, I'm always hungry now.
2 down in the inning for Ryan Ludwig. And that one lined into right field will fall in a hit. Well, Ludwig's last at bat, he hit one about 3 miles for a home run down the left field line and gets it the other way this time for a 2-out single.
Center fielder, Skip Schumacher.
Schumacher down a strike. Skip bounced out to the first baseman, ending the 2nd inning, and hit the ball very hard off the glove of a diving Chavez. It went for a base hit in the 4th. Reds in front 4-3. You know, one thing that Jim Day did not tell you about that corn dog, as there's a liner to win the inning. Why don't you think about this for a bit as we go to break? It's only a mere 3,000 calories to knock that baby down. It's on its way here. Chris, you better get ready.
Leading off for the D-backs, catcher, Miguel Montero.
Well, a week from today, why not bring the whole family down to Great American Ballpark? June the 8th, share on the Reds at half price with a Reach Magazine family ticket offer. And the first 8,000 kids 14 and younger receive a Kids Brandon Phillips growth chart thanks to College Advantage. 381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to reds.com/family for tickets. Bottom of the 6th inning, 4 runs, 8 hits for the Reds, 3 runs, 6 hits for Arizona. The Reds have hit 4 solo home runs in this game. Cozart and Frazier in the third. Ludwig in the fourth. Heisey in the fifth. Arizona scored all 3 runs, 4 of their 6 hits in the 4th inning off Simon. And the man who leads it off knocked in one of those runs, Miguel Montero, with an RBI double. He has a single, a double, an RBI, and a run scored.
Tom, I want to send out a huge birthday greetings today to a young lady who is celebrating her 9th birthday. She and Dad sitting around watching the game, and I'm not so sure she has a lot of choice. I'm sure she's a fan. The Dad, though, huge baseball fan, and we've talked about it really this whole road trip, Charlie Sheen. So we send happy birthday wishes to his daughter Lola. Hope you have a great day watching some Reds baseball.
That a girl, Lola. That's how Charlie grew up, you know, with his dad and his uncle, as we understand, taking him to baseball games regularly in Cincinnati. And Lola, I'm sure, is dialed into baseball games regularly, hanging with her dad. Two-two pitch. Started 2 and was able to hold off. Chris Welsh making a lot of friends with the various mascots that are here today. The Diamondbacks are celebrating a birthday of their mascot, Dee Baxter, the Bobcat. So they brought in all his friends for the big birthday party. All the other professional teams, college teams, community college teams, to celebrate the big day. Fly ball right field. 1 out. Well, we call it Reds Live. It comes your way 30 minutes before the start of every game right here on Fox Sports Ohio. And it's brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Off day tomorrow. And then the entire gang on Reds Live will be with you on Tuesday night from from Great American Ballpark. There's the Arizona Cardinal mascot. Arizona State Sun Devil. There is an artichoke running around here somewhere. There's ball 1 to Martin Prado.
That might be my favorite since Yuppie.
This is from nearby Scottsdale Community College, the Artichokes. Yuppie was big.
Yuppie, if you don't know at home, that's probably a good trivia question.
Yep.
But Yuppie was the mascot in Montreal for the Montreal Expos.
Big orange furry thing.
Used to dance on top of the visiting dugout.
Yuppie was very popular.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Well, Jim Day has finally arrived with that corn dog.
Or half of it anyway.
And maybe looks pretty good.
Come on, dig in, boys. We got extra forks and knives there.
Where are the jalapenos?
They're inside. It's stuffed with cheese and jalapenos.
Ooh. Gotta give that a go, don't you? Huh?
Come on, boys.
Why don't we wrap it? You can eat it on the plane. You got the whole Brenneman family here in Phoenix.
We do.
Bring it on home. Just think of all the Delta dollars you can save by bringing your own food onto the charter.
You know, that's a great point. Maybe I'll just get him to wolf it down in another 2 hours from now before we get out of here, right here at the ballpark. Got a little mustard here. Got to give that thing a go, man.
Give it a shot.
You have to.
Take one for the team. Like I do on a nightly basis.
Slow breaking ball and rolled over behind the plate, foul to Prado. One out, nobody on, and a 4-3 Reds lead here in the home half of the 6th inning. 1-2 pitch. Simon has thrown 85 pitches in the game. Normally a much better strike to walk ratio, 51 strikes against 34 balls. Another strike here, trying to put away Prado. And another foul ball by Prado.
Well, the last of the local college baseball teams, at least the Division I teams, have been knocked out of their quest to try to get to the College World Series. Xavier Musketeers fell in extra innings to Oregon, 9-8. Good ball game. Really, congratulations to the Xavier Musketeers on a real fine baseball season.
But those are the local.
The Cincinnati ones.
Right.
Now, Kentucky is still playing, and Louisville. In fact, Kentucky has one loss. Louisville has no losses. So that will go. That'll game be played today, later on this afternoon. I think either 5 or 7 o'clock this evening between the Cardinals and the Wildcats. And if Kentucky wins, then they'll play the final game tomorrow to determine who goes out of this sectional.
It's a double elimination.
Regional. Yeah.
Better hurry up. And Cozart cuts it loose in time. 2 away in the inning. And the other team, I mean, they're not as well. It's really not a heck of a lot of difference as far as riding in a car. We talk about Louisville. We talk about UK. Indiana.
Yep. Indiana is in it. They're 2-0 right now. They'll be playing Stanford to see if they can't get another berth into the College World Series.
Well, now they go one more round, I think, after this.
They get regionals, I think, and then super regionals.
Right.
And then they get it down to 8 before they go to Omaha.
They say that is so much fun to go there to Omaha.
Yeah, speaking of Louisville and the Louisville Cardinals, Zach Cozart's old coach at Arkansas, at Ole Miss. Dan McDonnell, of course, is now the coach at University of Louisville. And you should hear Cozart talk about Dan McDonnell and everything that he did in practice to make sure that you did defensively everything right fundamentally. And he credits him without a doubt for being the kind of defensive player that he is.
Chavez with a count of 3-0. Chavez thought perhaps ball 4. Instead, it's 3-1. There's a 1-run Cincinnati lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning on this getaway Sunday. Reds trying to make it 3 wins in a row after being shut out. 27 batters came to the plate in that 3-hitter by Colementor. That ball is crushed into right center field, and it will die in front of the wall at the 4-13 sign. Reds lead by a run. We're off to the 7th in Phoenix. Let's take a look at our steel power tool performer. And Zach Cozart, it's been a while. His second home run of the year. That came in the third inning. Reds have hit 4 solo home runs so far today, accounting for all 4 of their runs. And now they'll be facing a new Arizona pitcher. We saw him in the second game of this series. Pretty good looking stuff, Evan Marshall.
They'll face the bottom of the Reds order, Cozart, and then the pitcher spot. I don't know if it'll be Simon. We haven't seen anybody in the Reds bullpen, so we presume it'll be Alfredo. Marshall throws hard. That much we found out.
Well, Wade Miley goes 6 innings, allows 8 hits. He fans 9, does not walk a batter. And that line is pretty interesting because as Cozart pops it up. 1 pitch, 1 out from Marshall. The last 101 seasons of Major League Baseball, Wade Miley is the 5th pitcher ever to give up 4 home runs or more in a game, strike out 9 batters or more in a game, and not walk a single batter. Other names on that list: Hiroki Kuroda, David Wells, Steve Carlton, and Homer Bailey did it this year on April the 14th in a start against the Pittsburgh Pirates. 9 or more strikeouts, no walks, and give up 4 or more home runs in the same game. Simon fouls it away. He's behind 0-2. Very smart, Billy Hatcher. That's a veteran move down there. Rarely ever is he going to try to make a play on those balls with a little hair on them anymore. That is a veteran move.
Hatch not covering quite as much ground as he used to.
I think we both would still take him on our team.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about a guy that got it done when it needed to get done. Only twice in his major league career did he have a chance to play in the postseason, but my, oh my, did he do it. Of course, this is his home state. He grew up in a ranching town up in northern Arizona, a little town called Williams, Arizona, not all that far from the Grand Canyon. Some of the most beautiful country in America. Elevation up over 8,000 feet. Two away in the inning. All right, let's take a look at our fan photo of the game, brought to you by AT&T. Good looking trio there. Keith, we thank you very much. Well, after the Diamondbacks had scored 3 times to tie the game off Alfredo Simon in the 4th inning, Heisey, with 1 out in the 5th, clobbered a home run up above the overhang in left center field, giving the Reds this current 1-run lead. Strike 1 from Marshall. swinging a foul ball out of play. I think the same guy who was here last night is again here today.
Old leather lungs.
Yeah, he's right back in the jar. And I mean, you can you can hear him all over this ball. And this is a huge ballpark.
And there are 24,000 people here.
Yeah. Hit on an 0-2 pitch.
Third baseman Todd Frazier.
So now Todd Frazier, he has one of those 4 solo home runs today. This came to left field back in the 3rd inning. At the time, that gave the Reds 2 home runs in that 3rd inning. So our Nissan drive of the game. No doubt. It's a wild pitch. I'm sure all of you at home can hear this fella sitting somewhere down below us. And I mean, right before every pitch to a Reds batter. He can be heard, it seems like, or it'd be hard to believe if he's not heard, even in the upper deck.
Well, he's loud, but he's not getting any points for creativity. I mean, because all he is yelling is the last name of the Reds hitter.
Yeah.
Right before the pitch.
So listen in here. You'll get it. Whoa. He took a break. And that ball is clobbered into straightaway center and able to run it down. Is Cincinnati. Wow, is that ball hit. your favorite mobile phone or tablet. You can download it on the App Store or visit Reds.com today. Let's take a look at our Honda game summary. In the third inning, Kozart to put him ahead 1-0. His first home run since the end of April. Frazier, 3 batters later. Ludwig made it 3-0 with a home run. But then the Diamondbacks got 3 off Simon, a double by Montero, sac fly by Chavez, single by Enciarte. But Heisey broke the tie with a home run that came in the Reds' 5th. And a 4-3 game as the Diamondbacks will bat in the bottom of the 7th inning, and it's still Alfredo Simon.
Leading off for the
Well, Alfredo seemed to bend a little bit there in the 4th inning, but other than that, he has been lights out. Retired the last 7 batters, 2 of them by strikeout. A nice easy 1-2-3, a couple fly balls and a ground ball. 6th inning, and here he is all of a sudden in the 7th with a quality start under his belt.
Well, he's trying to keep it that way because you can lose that. Depending on what transpires here in the 7th. We'd love to get him through the 7th inning. They have action in their bullpen. We've seen Broxton the last 2 nights, so it makes you wonder if they would prefer to go with LeCure, perhaps.
That's who's warming up.
He's down there now? All right. Have him in the 8th, and then right there, number 54 in the 9th. Well, Peralta got his first major league hit his first time up, and now he has his first major league multi-hit game.
Pretty nice tight swing right here. Gets the first pitch change up and takes it right back through the middle. Alfredo jumping out of the way of that one. I don't blame him. Ball was hit. Boy, for a guy that just a few years ago was beating around in the independent leagues, what a day it's been for him.
Well, a tying run aboard to begin the Diamondbacks 7th inning, and now it's Enciarte who hit the ball very hard his last time up. He flied out to center in the 3rd and singled in right to knock in a run in that 3-run 4th inning. Strike 1 on the outside corner. Well, you have Enciarte, the number 8 hitter. You'd have a pinch hitter next, and they have Aaron Hill standing in the on-deck circle. And then you'd roll over back to the top of the order in Parra. Oh, and 1 on Ender Enciarte, and a breaking ball down and in, even accounted a ball and a strike. Swung on and fouled out of play off to the 3rd base side, and it's 1-2, Simon in front.
And now Simon, it seems, is taking a little bit more time between pitches. There's a lot of different signs that pitchers will give you other than where they locate their pitches and their speed pitch to tell you whether they're getting tired or not. He's only right at 100 pitches.
In the air, right field. And to the warning track. How is he able to get there? Well, some well-struck balls by that duo to begin this inning today, Peralta and Enciarte. We might get to come on down to the Holy Grail on Friday night before the Reds and the Phillies. You can answer our Reds trivia questions and win some great prizes. You might even be featured on Reds Live. That'll be Friday at 6 at the Holy Grail in the Banks. Apparently that's going to be all for Alfredo Simon. Gives him 6 1/3 innings here today. Allows 7 hits and 3 runs. So another excellent effort by Alfredo Simon. This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Sam LeCure will come on and try and get the final 2 outs in this Arizona 7th. Back in a moment. Simon leaves after 6 1/3 innings. He has a 1-run lead. He'll hand the ball to Sam LeCure, and it's been part of a bullpen that, since getting healthy, Chris, is doing what we're used to seeing him do.
Well, you're not kidding about that. I mean, Sam is essentially a 2-pitch pitcher, but he's able to really locate that fastball. He's got a nice loop in his breaking ball that gets people way off balance. But overall, this back end of the bullpen, last 12 games, has been lights out. And there's a guy that shuts out the lights on the way out the door.
They'll need 8 outs out of that bullpen today to try and protect this 1-run lead. Aaron Hill, the pinch hitter. Sam LeCure now on to face him. Breaking ball and a beauty on the outside corner. Marshall gives him an inning. It's a batter. We saw LeCure in Friday night's game, worked an inning, allowed a hit, struck out a couple of batters. He did not face Aaron Hill, but he did face a man who waits in the on-deck circle, Gerardo Parra. 1 ball and 1 strike, and he got Parra on a ground ball too short. Breaking ball tomahawked into left, and a diving play by Ludwig.
Really nice play by the Reds left fielder. Boy, he got a good jump on that ball, Ludwig did. A hanging breaking ball that Sam LeCure realized as soon as it left his hands it wasn't going to be anywhere near where he wanted it. And that ball gets by Ludwig, and we got a tie ball game.
So now Parra, who today is grounded out 3 times to the right side of the infield, twice to the first baseman, and then in the 5th inning, a ground ball to Brandon Phillips. And nowhere near the location they were asking for that pitch. Ball 1. Parra. LeCure a glance over his left shoulder, his second look, and out of the plate. In the air, long run for Ludwig. This time will not get to it. It'll fall in a hit. Throw goes into second base. Advancing on to third is Peralta. So now 2 on, 2 out. Tying run stands at third.
Well, that's another good play by Ryan Ludwig, and he made the right choice as to where he throws this ball when he gets it. The ball is going to flare down the line. It's a hit all the way, but the runner is thinking about going to second base. Parra is a good aggressive base runner, and Ludwig comes up without hesitation and fires it right into second base. And thereby sending the message to Parra to hang at first. You don't want that go-ahead run moving into scoring position.
So now the biggest batter of the ball game so far for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Tying run standing at third. The lead run over at first, and it's Cliff Pennington, the shortstop. Line drive, right field, inning over. Boy, LeCure just looking up into the air, not tricking anybody in that inning. Hey, take it while you can get it. So LeCure will walk back to the dugout as he protects that 1-run lead. You'd never know it. On Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Chevy. Visit your Tri-State Chevy dealer today, and by Cincinnati Children's Hospital, ranked #1 in the United States in pediatric cancer care, according to U.S. News and World Report's best children's hospitals in America. After every Reds game, Fox Sports Ohio will break it down. We'll hear from Brian Price and the players. Reds Live, brought to you by Kings Honda. Well, you hear that Cincinnati Children's Hospital, one of our great sponsors and certainly one of the real beacon of light in our community, and celebrating a big day for the Phoenix Children's Hospital today. They have many youngsters here today, and so nice to have them out here at the ballpark. Brad Ziegler, that young lady right there, her twin brothers, and that's one wheelchair combined, way down there by the Reds dugout. And I don't need to remind anybody to say your blessings, because that woman right there, if that is indeed Mom, she's pretty much going morning, noon, and night. So we hope they're having fun and enjoying their day at the ballpark. Ziegler, as you can see, the sidewinder comes from way down under.
He's been around a while. Ziegler broke in 2008 and pitched the first 4 years of his career with the Oakland A's. And in 2011 came over here to the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's been in a lot of ball games. 78 last year, 77 the year before that. This is game number 30. So he's even ahead of last year's pace.
Fair ball behind the bag. Chavez, a good throw. One out.
Catcher, Devin Mesoraco.
Now Devin Mesoraco, 1 for 3 in the game, singled his first time up. He has since fly to right and fly to very deep center. Two and two on Mesoraco.
Well, Ziegler, as you would imagine, gets a lot of ground balls. Now, when I say a lot, I'm talking about a ground ball percentage last year of 70%. So if you're in the infield here and he's in the ball game, you are on the balls of your feet.
Well, that's some nasty movement to it there, down and into the right-handed batting Mesoraco. 2 outs.
Now let's take a look at that side-winding motion. He's a guy that not only throws sidearm, but he kind of bends at the waist a little bit.
First baseman, Ryan Pena.
A lot of side-to-side action. You know what helps a guy like that is that there's so few pitchers that throw like that you just never really get accustomed to looking for a release point. It's almost like a circus act. Among relievers, a lot of ground balls.
Gone swinging is Pena, and the Reds retired in order. As we head for the bottom of the 8th inning, Reds still lead by a run. Hot dog play of the game came in the very first inning. Big swing by Goldschmidt. He appeared to catch it off the end of the bat. Schumacher initially had stepped back and then came hard to get it before it hit the grass. Reds 4, Arizona 3. We've seen Jonathan Broxton in back-to-back games. A perfect inning here on Friday night. 2/3 of an inning with a strikeout last night. And now he takes over with a 1-run lead, and what a year he has had.
So now 8 straight for Broxton as far as game appearances in which he's not allowed to run. Sam McCure ran his record up to 6 straight. And Chapman is not allowed to run in his final 5. So the back end of this Reds bullpen, when given a lead, they have done what Brian Price needs, which is shut down.
Part of the order, Goldschmidt, Montero, Prado, 3, 4, and 5 against Broxton here in the bottom of the 8th inning. On the outside corner, perfect location. That's a spot they've been going after Goldschmidt for the last 3 days with very good success so far.
Well, they faced him in the 8th inning yesterday and struck him out. You know, you see it happen a lot where, you know, you divide up the back end of the ball game. 8th inning goes to one guy, your setup guy. The 9th inning normally goes obviously to the closer in a safe situation, but oftentimes it's the setup guy that faces the more difficult at the middle of the order. Broxton did it last night. He faced the same guy in Goldschmidt.
Ooh, tried that spot. He got the strike 1 pitch on and didn't get it there for strike 3. Goldschmidt waiting. Broxton okays a sign with Mesoraco, and now the 2-2 pitch. Here it is. Off the outside corner once more.
Boy, not about to give in. It's a good place to miss, especially when you've got a guy in the batter's box that can tie this game up with a ball that he doesn't have to get 100% of. He watched this guy take batting practice. I mean, it's impressive.
And 2 on Paul Goldschmidt, leading off the Arizona 8th inning in a 1-run game. Struck him out. Just said, here it is. On a breaking ball, 3-2. That's the pitch we've seen Broxton throwing with great confidence.
Well, when you're going good, you have that ability to throw your breaking ball for a strike. Let's take a look at this at bat. And they're going to pitch him outside, or Mazda pitch by pitch. You're just staying away from Goldschmidt. Same formula that the Reds have used this entire 4-game series. And finally gets a slider that had the plate, but it was down, and Goldschmidt could not hold back and gets that first very important out of this inning.
Well, Montero has hit the ball very hard 3 times in the game. He has a pair of hits. It wasn't all that long ago. You would never have seen Jonathan Broxton throwing a 3-2 slider to anybody. It's been back-to-back gas here to begin this inning.
Yeah, you can say the same thing about Johnny Cueto. When's the last time years ago that you would see him throw a 3-2 changeup to a right-hander. It's all about getting the job done.
And a fastball just a little bit low. One and two on Miguel Montero. And Broxton to the plate. Oh, just off the outside corner. But when he misses, he doesn't miss by much.
See, and that's a key point you make there, Tom, because when you have a pitcher that only misses a little bit, hitters have a tendency to chase pitches more often. Montero did not there. But I mean, if you miss by 2 feet, that would be a wasted pitch. If you're only missing by an inch or two, you're giving that guy reason to believe the next one's going to be a strike, and he may chase it.
Well, they got gas that time, and it is back-to-back strikeouts for the big fella, Jonathan Broxton.
What great location. And Mesoraco doesn't even move his glove.
Second baseman, Martin Prado.
So 2 away in the inning, and now Martin Prado. One more big out to get for Broxton before he'll hand off, he hopes, a 1-run lead to Aroldis Chapman in the 9th inning. And Prado, a guy, can hurt you with one big crack of the bat. They were mystified. Now, Prado's never been a big slugger, but they were mystified when Prado went in the first. Well, up until the Reds got here. He had not homered all year long, and then homered in back-to-back games against San Diego before this series began on Thursday night. But he has hit the ball very sharply in this series. 1-1 to Martin Prado.
Well, the most he's ever had in 1 year is 15, but he's usually between 10 and 15 every year. More of a batting average kind of player, a player that has an on-base percentage normally up around the 340, 350 mark.
Two and one on Prado. We have the left-handed batting Eric Chavez waiting in the on-deck circle. Now, obviously, the Diamondbacks have some players available on their bench. They've already used Aaron Hill. They have Cody Ross and Nick Evans and Chris Owings, backup catcher as well. Aroldis Chapman is throwing in a bullpen, and Brian Price has said before the beginning of the year he would not be afraid to bring him in the 8th if he had to, and maybe now a decision as Prado hooks one through the left side and a tying run aboard. And Chavez coming up here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Doesn't really look like Chapman's been up and throwing that long. He may be only, 10 or 12 pitches away. You could always get a couple, 3, 4, 5 pitches out of the bullpen by the time you walk out there. And then, of course, he gets 8 on the mound. But probably give him one more hitter. If he loses Eric Chavez here and you have Peralta coming up, good chance you're going to see Aroldis Chapman here in the 8th inning.
Chavez is bounced down to second, had a sac fly to right to knock in a run in the 4th, and he hit the ball right on the nose his last time up to the 413 sign out in the deepest part of right center field. It was caught by Schumacher in the outfield. Naturally, with a 1-run lead here in the bottom of the 8th inning, playing very, very deep. Everything will fall in front of them. Strike one on the outside corner. To Chavez. Tying run at first. 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning, and Broxton to the plate. Check swing to get ahead. 0-2. Now Broxton will make sure he's got everything ready to go. Takes a long walk around the first base side of the mound to the back part of the mound. Going to the rosin bag, to his hat, and now he will climb up the back of the mound after cleaning off the spikes. Looking to try and put Chavez and the Diamondbacks away here in the 8th inning. Good pitch right there, and Chavez able to foul it off to hang around.
Well, 2 different kinds of fastballs out of Broxton. One the 4-seamer, the other the 2-seamer. Very common, but he's more reliant on the 4-seam. But when he has a left-hander up there, he likes that one that runs away from him a little bit. I got to believe that if he's going to have Chavez beat him, it's going to be hitting the ball the opposite field.
Now to scoring. The runner will move into scoring position. It's one of the rare pitches you were referring to a moment ago where it's just so far out of the zone for Broxton, you rarely ever see it.
Yeah, but I still think that ought to be gloved right there. I mean, his arm wasn't even fully extended when it hit the glove. I just think that Mesoraco got his glove out there late. I mean, he was sitting outside, anticipating a pitch outside, and a lot of times it's what you anticipate makes you able to make that catch or not. So it's a whole different deal here as far as where you play the outfielders. They were up against the warning track. Now you bring them in a little bit. Ludwig in left field is in a good 6 or 7 paces shallower to make sure that, you know, a medium range fly ball just doesn't drop in because you're playing prevent defense.
It is a pass ball against Mesoraco. A ball and 2 strikes on Chavez. Broxton ready. Straight up in the air. Short left field. Whoa, Kozoi goes out to make the play rather than Ludwig. And Ludwig still staring at him. And Broxton, a big deep exhale as he puts out the fire in the 8th inning. We're on our way to the 9th where the Reds lead the Diamondbacks. Big play here by Kozai. 4-3 game. As the crew brings you the latest news and highlights from a full day of MLB, NBA, NHL, Fox Sports Live nightly on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Broxton able to take care of business in the 8th inning. Certainly the Reds would love to give Aroldis Chapman a little bit more breathing room. When he takes the ball in the 9th, it's a 1-run lead. And Oliver Perez takes over on the mound for Arizona.
Yeah, we saw him last night. Perez, who has 195 career starts, has been now relegated to the bullpen here, pitching in his 25th ball game.
Left fielder Ryan Ludwig.
Well, he's been all over the place, Perez has. Started out in San Diego, traded from there to Pittsburgh with the Mets, a couple of years with the Seattle Mariners, and now this year with the Diamondbacks.
Ludwig, Schumacher, and Kozar due up, then a pinch hitter for Broxton. Ryan Ludwig, 2 out of 3, struck out his first time up, homered to left field in the 4th inning. Had a single his last at bat. That came in the 6th. Well, there was a time when you thought Perez was going to be a really good starting pitcher. I mean, his stuff, even now, his stuff is still really good. But there was a time where his stuff was great.
Yeah, his stuff right now is not even a shadow really of what it was. He was once 95 miles an hour. Now he's dialing it up at 89. He had one year where he had 239 strikeouts.
But you know, it'll always come back to the ability, or Chris, more accurately, the lack of ability to throw strikes consistently.
And stay healthy.
Bring in 1 to Ludwig. Well, we told you earlier, maybe many of you are just rolling back home after a fun and busy Sunday afternoon, closing in on 7 o'clock Eastern time on this Sunday night. Milwaukee beat up Chicago 9-0. The Giants make it 3 of 4 over the weekend, blanking St. Louis 8-0. Reds will see the Giants beginning Tuesday night. Ludwig jumped all over that fastball and hooks it foul. Pirates and Dodgers play later tonight. Here the Reds have hit 4 solo home runs. See the standings going into play today. Reds will see Milwaukee on their next road trip. 3-2 remains on Ryan Ludwig, but it's a long homestand between now and then. A 10-gamer. First time an extended homestand for the Redlegs. 3 against the Giants. Night games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday day game. Night games Friday and Saturday. Sunday afternoon game against Philadelphia, and then next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, Thursday afternoon versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. Ludwig can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. Well, he got rung up in the 2nd inning. If you it was, I think, Ryan Ludwig in the 2nd inning got rung up on a pitch that was inside that he couldn't believe, and here he gets rung up on the one that's outside. He's got to be telling Lance Barksdale, now both of those can't be strikes, or else the plate would be 3 feet wide.
Twelve strikeouts today by Arizona pitching. And Miley they started. He fanned 9 of the 12 in his 6 innings of work. Ziegler with a pair. And Schumacher fouls it off out of play. And now a strikeout for Perez. We're looking ahead to the Arizona bottom of the 9th inning. It'll be 7, 8, and 9. But, you know, don't roll your eyes quite yet. Peralta and Inciarte have hit the ball very, very hard, although it should be noted they are left-handed batters. They have not faced the left-hander Aroldis Chapman. Well, dribbler up the line. It's going to stay fair. And the ball is dropped by Oliver Perez. That should have been an easy play. And an error on the Arizona pitcher.
Well, it should have been an easy play if he keeps his mind on the priority, which is the first one, get the baseball. But you're running over to the bag. You're thinking about the runner, how fast he is. The ball's got a little spin on it. I think he just turned his glove the wrong way. Instead of trying to scoop it as he went through, he kind of backhanded a little bit.
And a base hit into left field by Cozart, his second hit today. Cozart had a hit and 3 at-bats last night. He did not start the second game of the series after a hitless game in the opener against Pullman.
Hey, what? That error by Oliver Perez just may open up the door to the Reds add a little insurance run right here. Hey, I got to ask you, I know you look over box scores a lot. Did you happen to see, and it would be easy to overlook, who pitched last night for the New York Mets that has not pitched in a major league game since 2011?
I did not see it.
It was the number 2 draft pick for the Reds in 1996, Buddy Carlisle.
Wow.
He has been in parts unknown for the last few years. And he comes up, he pitched 3 shutout innings in that extra inning game for the Mets.
Last time we saw him, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he pitching with San Diego?
Well, he was with San Diego because he got traded. Remember, he got traded from the Reds to San Diego for Mark Kroon. But he's also been with the Royals, the Yankees, the Dodgers. I mean, all their organizations.
Sure.
The Braves, the Marlins. He was up in the big leagues with the Yankees. I think that was in 2011. I got him.
And now Bernardina hit with a pitch, and they are loaded for Heisey.
Well, if you're Kirk Gibson, you're thinking, man, I'm sending this guy in here to face the bottom of the order. He strikes out the first one, gets a break on that one. He has a little comebacker that he really should have made the play on, although not an automatic one, but he still was tagged with an error. And now you're looking at bases loaded, 1 out, and a chance for the Reds to really put a number up on the board.
And Kirk Gibson will slowly make his way out. And a signal to the bullpen. So the Reds have a chance here to give Aroldis Chapman a little bit of wiggle room for that bottom of the 9th. Reds in front 4-3. Back in a moment. take home your very own version of the Reds Cuban Missile. Wednesday, June the 4th, first 25,000 fans receiving a Aroldis Chapman bobblehead thanks to Coca-Cola. Call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to reds.com/tickets. Well, their closer, Addison Reed, comes on to face Chris Heisey with the bases loaded. Reed worked an inning, allowed a hit last night. Well, Chris Heisey back on April the 13th. A grand slam against the Tampa Bay Rays. That was the only Reds grand slam this year until they arrived in Arizona. And Devin Mesoraco hit one on Friday night. Oh, he just got underneath it. And unfortunately for him, it's not deep enough to bring in a run. Wow, that's a missed chance here by Heisey. 2 away in the inning.
Yeah, he had a good swing at it. I think he just missed it and popped it up.
Third baseman, Todd Frazier.
An eighth of an inch more on the bat, and it is at least deep enough to bring the run in. But he knows that when it comes off the bat with that trajectory, that shortstop flags it down.
Let's see if Frazier can deliver the 2-out hit. 1 for 4 in the game. Had a home run back in the 3rd inning. All 4 Reds runs have come on solo home runs in the game here today. Frazier did not face Addison Reed in his 1 inning last night. Reed, in his first year as an Arizona Diamondback, spent his entire professional career in the White Sox organization. The last 2 years, their closer. One ball, 1 strike on Todd Frazier. A lot of movement on that pitch away from him. Low. 2-2 the count. You can hear those fans again down below us.
They're really excited now.
Well, I mean, they're really fired up with the bases loaded. Could you imagine sitting next to those guys all day? 3 hours of that.
Hey, this is what you get when you play in the minor leagues every night. Crowds are smaller and you can hear them. You can pick them out.
Three and two. Well, there is one very simple way to not hear much from them. And that would be to find a gap somewhere right about now. Out away, remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. Bases loaded, 3 and 2 to Todd Frazier. And here it comes. Swung on and fouled out of play again. Nothing but power versus power here. Reed just throwing fastballs and Frazier wailing. Once more, the 3-2 pitch. And we'll do it again. 8 pitches so far in this at bat to Todd Frazier.
Well, after getting Frazier to reach for that pitch, he was off the plate for the second strike. He's got nothing but tried to come right in on his hands.
Three-two. High fly ball straight away center field. And room out there for Cincinnati. Reds leave him loaded. Here we go, bottom of the 9th inning. The Cuban Missile tries to nail it down with a 1-run lead.
With the addition of that changeup and the way he's throwing his sliders, could be as well as he's thrown the ball since I've been here. And I don't mean necessarily just for results, but the fact that he has 3 pitches he's throwing for strikes, that changeup, even though it's 88 to 90 miles an hour, still is a 10 mile an hour speed differential, and it's been a terrific pitch for him, a reliable pitch. And there's just times where, you know, hitters can still get on a 100 mile an hour fastball if it's not located, especially when, you know, 9 out of 10 or 19 out of 20 pitches that you're going to see in an inning are going to be fastballs. So the slider and changeup combination have really supported that 100-plus fastball.
Well, it is the man he's talking about, Aroldis Chapman, trying to close it out and give the Reds 3 consecutive wins in this series and make it a 4-3 road trip. Clearly, Kirk Gibson wants to get a look at, you know, some of these young left-handed batters as you look at his repertoire last year to this year.
You can see the difference here, and the big one is the new pitch that he's been throwing is that changeup. He did not throw it at all last year. He's throwing more sliders as well, but in the back of your mind, no matter how long you've been around the league, you know that he's got that fastball ready.
And they're going to have these young players, these young left-handed batters apparently go up there against Chapman in a 1-run game here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Peralta's had an outstanding major league debut. 3 hits, struck out his first time up. 2 hits, I beg your pardon. 3 at bats. Struck out his first time up. Had his first major league hit in the center field in the 4th inning. Had another base hit in the 7th. Bernardino takes over now in right field. Moving Heisey over to left field. Ludwig out of the game. 0-2 on Peralta. And that is gas at 103 miles per hour from Chapman. 103.
You're not in Double-A anymore, young man.
Man. So now Ender Inciarte. They've got some right-handed hitters off that bench available. Cody Ross, Chris Owings, Nick Evans. They're staying with the lefties. Showing bunt on a first pitch slider for a strike. Inciarte.
I really thought that maybe David Peralta would think about that. I mean, because the right side of the infield, if you're going to bunt, you've got to lay it down on the right side of the infield. Chapman falls to third base, so you got this area open if you wanted to do that.
Bouncer by the mound. Phillips throws on to first. 2 away here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Nick Evans will come on to pinch hit for Addison Reed. Evans putting up monster numbers in the minor league, but there are a lot of guys that have put up big numbers in the PCL. Little bit tardy on that fastball. Four solo home runs for the Reds in this game. Alfredo Simon won the first 6 1/3, allowed 7 hits, 3 runs. All 3 runs came in the Diamondbacks' 4th inning. LeCure gave up some hard hit balls, but he got the final 2 outs in the 7th. Broxton dynamite as usual in the 8th. 1 hit, 2 strikeouts. And now Chapman an out away from a 1-run win. Oh my goodness.
There's the changeup.
90-mile-per-hour changeup.
If you think of all the young men out there trying to find their way into the major leagues, amateurs, and even minor leaguers that are doing weights and nutrition just to get their fastball to 90 miles an hour.
And yet this fella's fastball at 102 on the final pitch of the game. Aroldis Chapman 1, 2, 3 in the 9th with a couple of strikeouts. And the Reds, after losing the opener of this series on Thursday night, when they were shut out on 3 hits to a minimum 27 batters by Josh Coleman, come back to win 6-4 behind Mike Leake, 5-0 behind Johnny Cueto, and 4-3 today behind Alfredo and company.
Well, a good gutsy performance by Alfredo Simon. He bent in the 4th inning, but he did not break. And if, you know, with the Reds bullpen the way it is, if you can gut out 6 innings and hand it over to the guys that the Reds have been putting in there late in the ballgame, it is a shutdown kind of bullpen. And the Reds go away happy, winning 3 out of 4 here in the desert. I'm sure that that is something that they came in looking for.
All righty. Our Miller time a moment. Tie-breaking home run came in the 5th inning off the bat of Chris Heisey. And that proved to be the game winner. (4-3) our final. We thank our producer Josh Hall, our director Brian Hunterman, Matt Sigafus, Lauren White, part of our traveling group, and the entire crew here in Arizona. 4-3, Reds win it. Reds Live begins next.